The big question is how they figured out that they had to combine two plants so the DMT was not digested.
It's something that is passing from one generation to another generation for thousands of years. Of course they will guard it.
He has chosen to be a vehicle of healing in this world.
Can you hear me yet?
Yes, I'm new to the Zoom world. How you doing?
You and me both. Trust me, I'd never heard of Zoom until like a month ago. So, well, cool. Farzin, thanks for joining me today. And we're here to talk about your documentary, The Medicine. So fascinating. I watched it last night. And so ayahuasca, does that mean literally the little death? Am I getting that right?
It means the soul of the vine of the soul.
And it's better known as Yahe. And
in Colombia, there's a variation. In Colombia, it's known as Yahe.
And it's a deep tradition. Like I think you said 7 tribes in over 4,000 years. So this has been a long tradition that's been going on in South America for many, many generations.
That is correct. It's for me, what was fascinating is how did all these tribes in the Amazon basin, which is now Brazil, Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, parts of Venezuela, have the same tradition, right? And how do they figure out how to put two plants together to get the psychedelic effect? That's what really fascinated me to begin with. And
I guess you have as our tour guide, our shaman tour guide, Tatya, and he's learned this incredible tradition which has been passed down generation to generation, and he seems so open about it. And at first you're kind of taken back. That's his picture right there. You kind of make a judgment, but then you find out this guy is really intelligent and knows what he's talking about through experience.
Yeah, it's he is really, he has it in his veins, right? He's been doing this since he was a kid, and I think we try to, and he's really trying to bring this culture and this medicine to the West. And it was an attempt by the elders in the Amazon to say, okay, well, we've kept this medicine with us for a long time, and we want to take it and get people that need help. And in their view, and without judgment, with a lot of love, they feel like, we need help. So.
And how did you get permission? I assume they had such privacy, keeping it secret for generations. And you even go back in the documentary about the time the conquistadors were coming over, they hid this from them. But this is such a personal experience and journey. Not only do you have 2 Westerners who are making this journey you got permission from, but how did you get permission for the ceremonies? And it just seems like it's a one-stop shop to learn about this.
Well, it's a crazy thought. We asked him to do a documentary on him. He said that he would need to think about it and go back to his village. He went back to his village. They had a ceremony with his grandfather, who's passed on, and to ask permission from the spirit world. And they took pictures. They laid out pictures of the people involved, and they asked, literally, they asked the medicine whether they should do this, and they got the positive response. And 6 months later, we met up with them again in Costa Rica, and we planned to do this documentary. So it was a process for them to open up.
And you also have science involved in the documentary, which I think is a great balance. You have the mystic and the tradition, and science is learning that this ayahuasca can be used for depression and addiction, maybe certain types of cancers. And they've been studying this for decades now. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's been studied, but it's it's frustrated a lot of the researchers because of the legality of this, right? It's still a Schedule 1 drug in the United States, and there's this opposition from the scientific community towards psychedelics, right? That's opening up now. Like, for example, there's a ton of research being done on psilocybin right now and its effects, and I think all psychedelics have been shown to help improve depression and addiction and a lot of psychiatric benefits, right?
Yeah, but they're also, your documentary says it's maybe creating new pathways in the brain, creating brain stem cells. I mean, that's insane, because the heart and the brain are the only cells that don't regenerate.
That is correct, and that's one of the reasons our football player our ex NFL player went down there, because he had this concern over CTE, and he had heard that it actually regenerates brain cells for that, and not being petrified of CTE, he thought this could be a benefit to him. But he actually got a lot of benefit in other ways.
And when it comes time to the ceremony and for taking the ayahuasca, the Rhythmia Life Enhancement Center in Costa Rica, and tell me about that place. It seems fascinating.
Well, it's like the first really organized, if you will, in quotes, a resort that you can go to and you're cared for, and there's medical staff there to look after you and hold space. So it's a very comfortable place. If you don't want to go trek down to the Amazon, into the jungle, or rough it, it's a very good alternative place, safe place for people to go to. And real nice facility, nice people. And that's the first time I did ayahuasca, was there.
But when it came down to the final ceremony, no video was allowed. You just did the audio, which I felt made even more mystic, hearing all what was going on over the hours.
Yeah, Taita didn't allow us to film it, and we agreed, because a lot of the documentaries that do ayahuasca have grainy footage of people vomiting, and it's scary, and we try to not make this scary, right? It is tough. Like, if you're going to do ayahuasca, you need to buckle up, because it's a ride. But we didn't want to show that side of it. We wanted to talk about the spirituality of it, the science of it, and the benefits of it, as opposed to scare people away from doing it.
I think the first experience I had with ayahuasca in terms of journalism and the media was Lisa Ling. She did a special on it with her hour-long special. And there was a gentleman who came to America that does these private sessions. And I actually have some friends who have done it, who knew him, that he would come to different towns, but of course it's secret because it's still a Schedule 1 drug.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's the thing. A lot of these shamans or people who do it are doing it, I think, from a good space to help people, and they're doing it really, with the threat of legal action, and that's why it's a little bit underground. But there's so many ceremonies going. I read someplace like on any given weekend. I guess I don't know if the pandemic has affected it, but on any given weekend, there's 700 ayahuasca ceremonies that take place in Los Angeles. So that's a lot. That's
a lot. And someone who got late into the rave scene about 10 years ago, I'm no stranger to MDMA, and so I know, Daddy Raver here, but I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, MDA it's just amazing, the properties in that. Cures depression, it does all these amazing things. If you take it the right way, if you don't abuse it, there's all kinds of guidelines, for something like that. So ayahuasca has just fascinated me because, again, I'm looking for some sort of experience, and so if someone was interested in doing that, if someone's watching this interview and they want to go down to the Enhancement Center in Costa Rica, what does something like that cost? Is it affordable?
Well, I'm not sure about the pricing there. I think it's on the pricier side. There are many alternatives. I think you can go, but the key, you can go to Rhythmia, or you can go to, the key is really finding a bona fide, respectable shaman to do it with that can hold space. That's the main thing, and it's easy enough to find through referrals. I think Taita, he himself has 4 retreats a year in Colombia, and I've been to one. It's where we shot the where we taped the audio for the ceremony was in Colombia, and I think the main thing is finding somebody to do it with that can hold space and comes from a good place. There's a lot of I think, charlatan, and we tried to make a point of it in the documentary, charlatan shamans, you know, if you will, that are just doing it because it's kind of getting hot right now. And it's not a trip. I mean, that's the thing. This is not for tripping. This is really for helping yourself. This is
absolutely. In fact, that's what Tatya said. You know, what are you looking for? What do you seek? And he kind of evaluates you. You know, if you're there for the wrong reasons, you know, people are there, you know, on a journey, for an experience. And that's something that always fascinated me about the documentary, is something that about yourself you don't know, and about your world you're living in. You know, I'm not looking just for a night of like, oh man, you know, just not that at all. I don't do drugs. I never had. I come from a white Christian family that we just, you know, we were drummed in during the Reagan years, Generation X, you know. But I just felt that there's so much more to this than, you know, just like the whole documentary. You got to watch the whole thing. It's an experience and a journey. So, and I'm just curious to see what's on the other side of that.
Yeah, what's on the other side of that? I think it's self-healing, really. I mean, you know, I think that it's funny. You go into a ceremony, you see people come in, and they're bringing the heaviness of the world into the ceremony, and you know, sometimes they're not very friendly, sometimes they're sort of nervous, but by the morning, you know, everybody is light and love, and it's just in a different mental space. You literally purging through vomiting and other means, you know, all this heaviness that we carry in our Western lifestyle, right? And that's the benefit of it. I mean, that's the thing that you know, and especially right now in a pandemic, I was just thinking, God, I would love to be in Costa Rica or Colombia doing medicine, just to purge all this negativity, because there's a lot of it going on, and it's really a journey for yourself. You discover things. You know, I've done. You know, give you a quick example. After the first time I did ayahuasca, I stopped drinking hard alcohol, and that for me was amazing. It's one of the best things that's happened to me, and it wasn't an intention; it just happened. And now, for the life of me, I can't even look at drinking, you know, a glass of vodka like I did before.
Well, Farzin, it's been fascinating. You pull the curtain back and, you know, and expose this for what it is. And I love how it says in the documentary, don't consider it a drug, you know, people, because that's how everyone thinks it is. So you've really taken, answered a lot of questions and taken some of the mystery out of this. And it's just amazing the access you got. And it's just an incredible documentary. And
Well,
thanks for talking to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.